Yeah, no, I'm not kidding when I say that they need to tread with caution, because if Shinx is A, not in Pokemon Legends ZA, and B, doesn't receive a Mega Evolution, oh boy, somebody's neck is getting wrong. Happy New Year all! What's good? Soul here, and welcome back to the story mode. And so we are now officially in 2025, which means that it is only a matter of weeks before we get two major things. Firstly, hopefully, we get our actual first glimpse into the Switch successor. We've been waiting almost 2 full years to see what this thing even is, let alone what it looks like. In the gaming industry, it is abnormal to be on a console for as long as we've had the Switch for. And don't get me wrong, I love the Nintendo Switch for what it is, but it's about time that we finally start playing with just a little bit more power. Which is precisely why I and plenty of others are really hoping that the Switch 2 delivers on that and gives us some actual genuine power so that we can have some really high quality games going into this next era. Which brings me to my second thing. We are not far off whatsoever from finally seeing a glimpse, a hint of Pokemon Legends ZA. Because that's another extremely abnormal thing for Pokemon. To announce a game as early as they did and not see it for a complete year is wild work. However though, that's not something that we're probably gonna have to worry about for a very long time, considering the fact that about a month from now, we're gonna know everything we need to know about Legends ZA. However, there's something that needs to be noted here. As you've most likely seen the title and thumbnail, I'm sure that a lot of you can agree that Pokemon needs to tread very carefully going into this next year. I know a lot of you are definitely going to be sarcastic and roll your eyes when I say this, but people are 100% on their actual genuine last straw with this series. These last 3 to 4 years with Pokemon have been nothing short of absolutely frustrating as hell. So I would not blame the next massive group of people that decide to drop Pokemon for good forever if they really don't deliver this year. I simply feel that this year is more critical than anything beforehand because following up something like Scarlet and Violet is where people are gonna really understand where this series is going. This is coming from somebody that enjoyed Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But despite the diamonds in the rough situation we have with it, that game is easily the most unpolished and roughed up piece of media that they have released for the entire series by and far, and that is not acceptable for the AAA pricing that they put it at. And you gotta understand, man, at some point, people can only take so much disrespect before they finally take some real action, and it's kind of getting to that point. Legends ZA, whether we realize it or not, is most likely going to be the game that really lets us know, is this series finally going in a more positive direction? Or is this series games doomed to absolute mediocrity for the rest of time because it makes too much money to care about making quality anymore? It has been a full entire year and we're getting a brand new console on top of it. If this game isn't at least decent or high quality, we're gonna see some blood, bro. And so with that, I've made a very small list here of like needs of things that we need to see going into 2025 when it comes to Pokemon. Now, with all that explained, why don't you go ahead, party people, and grab yourself a seat. I know you got some sparkling cider left over from a couple of nights before. Go ahead and grab that so you have something to dip your corn dogs in, and let's talk about a couple of ways that Pokemon can be very careful in 2025. The first thing that we need to discuss is how they go about announcements this year. For one thing, and I know that this is gonna sound crazy, but specifically for Pokemon Day, there cannot be any semblance of a second new mainline title for 2025. Absolutely not. If the last couple years have taught us anything, it's that piling on all of those releases and all of those announcements on top of each other like they were, it doesn't work. Having Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus releasing not even like 2 full months apart was the most unnecessary thing I could think of. Imagine a timeline with me for a second, where we get Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl as the same time as we did in this timeline. However, instead of Legends Arceus releasing 2 months after the fact, we actually get it at the end of 2022. As fun as that game already is, could you imagine those extra months of polish? A world of difference. Not only for that though, but also for Scarlet and Violet, which also would have been pushed back a year. All of this to say, we don't need anything else as far as mainline games go in 2025 outside of Legends ZA. That can 100% be it for this year. There is one other thing that I would like to see in a Pokemon Presents this year, but we'll talk about that more towards the end of the video for very specific reasons. But primarily, the only thing that we need to see by the end of this next Pokemon Presents is our first glimpse at Pokemon Legends ZA. There does not need to be another final thing. We don't need any other major mainline releases announced for this year or early next year. Keep that under lock and key, please. Like I said in my previous video, it is actually natural to have like a 3 to 4 year wait period for a major game. 1 or 2 in between is absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. However, at the very least, if we could have a 2-year wait cycle for some quality games, we should absolutely keep it that way. And I really hope that they recognized that breaking that pattern and actually giving themselves time to develop these games could make a major difference. However though, unfortunately, I do have no doubt in my mind that a few higher-ups up at Pokemon Company absolutely would like to make a major push to get even more big mainline stuff out for the Switch 2's first year. And as frustrating as that idea might sound, it kind of makes sense when you realize that that kind of a push is probably coming from these higher-ups up at Pokemon Company that clearly do not understand game development and are completely detached from what the audience actually wants. What people like that don't understand and realize is that there is absolutely no reason to put that kind of strain and strife on your developers. We have one major Pokemon title coming out during the release year of the Switch 2. Put all of your energy and focus on that before worrying about everything else that's coming down the line. We know that we have multiple teams working on multiple games. Let them work on those games and actually finish those games before you show them to us. The frustration of even talking about that might make me pop a blood vessel. So I repeat what I said earlier. Let Legends ZA be the 2025 Pokemon game. That's all that needs to happen. Now, going into Pokemon Legends ZA, there's actually a couple of things that needs to happen with this game to make us feel secure in Pokemon's future. The first and most major thing is that when Pokemon Day comes up this February, when we finally get that first glimpse of gameplay from Pokemon Legends ZA, it cannot look like unfinished garbage this time. The first time that we saw Pokemon Legends Arceus, it looked awful. Like, oh my goodness, the frame rate was unbearable to look at in the trailer. That was clearly very early development stuff, but my goodness, that needed so much more work before it came out, only to realize how close the release of that game actually was in comparison to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Crazy stuff, that. We can't have another situation like that, especially one that could potentially, this time more so than ever, ruin the reputation of Pokemon even further. But on top of that, I know for a fact Nintendo is not going to be happy if you send them a trailer that looks anything like what y'all did with Pokemon Legends Arceus for Legends ZA. That is not going to fly. By the time we actually get around to knowing what the Switch 2 is, or we even have it in our hands, we need to know that it is actually a superior console to its predecessor. And the only way to do that is by putting high quality games on said successor. So yeah, this is not something that they should be or could be fumbling right now. I need that first trailer to make me say, wow, this looks amazing. Off rip, simple as that. Now, when we actually receive Pokemon Legends ZA, it needs to do 2 very specific things for me. This may seem like a very small order, but apparently for Pokemon, it's not. But I'm gonna say this, the game needs to look and feel decent day one. Typically, when a new Pokemon game releases, it's safe to assume that we aren't going to get any like major patches throughout the course of its time to make it look and feel better, which means that when we get this game, that's how it's going to look and feel most likely the entire time. Which means that the actual day that we get our hands on it, it's gotta look and feel good, man. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just as simple as that. Again, may seem like a very reasonable request, but apparently not really. The second major thing is that I need this game to feel like it actually matters. And I'm not like talking about the canon or the story or whatever. That's a completely separate thing. I want this game, once we're done with it, to actually feel like we have much more to look forward to when it comes to Pokemon. For way too long, we would sit here absolutely dreading what could potentially come next. This is one of the very few times where all of us are collectively cautiously optimistic as opposed to really scared. It is insanely unnatural to go into a Pokemon Presents begging them to give us nothing at all. We can't have stuff like that anymore, and I need for Pokemon Legends ZA to be at least good enough to help change that stigma. I want to be able to go into and come out of Pokemon Legends ZA optimistic about what the next game could give us. Because as of right now, all I'm praying for is that Pokemon Legends ZA is good, or at least finished. That's pretty much it. Let's hope that they go out of their way to spin that mindset a little bit, just a little bit, please. And lastly, of course, Pokemon Legends absolutely could be the only thing by itself to be the Pokemon thing for 2025. However, I really do feel like a spin-off developed by a different company or some ports helped ported by a different company could really help a lot. I get wanting to fill up the year and have a bunch of stuff planned for the first year of a major console release, but I feel like cramming 2 major mainline games within that would be the biggest mistake you could make. But a spin-off? That's a different story entirely. Like, trust me and plenty of others fully understand that the mobile market is definitely one of the ways to go, but there is absolutely no reason to abandon spin-off games. And trust me, I'm not completely ignoring the existence of Detective Pikachu 2 or anything like that, but that's a situation of a game that came out way too late at the wrong time with not amazing feedback. That should have came out like maybe a couple of months after Detective Pikachu the movie, not years after the fact when nobody's even thinking about that franchise anymore. It's been 4 years, man. Where's that next Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? Where's that next potential Pokemon Ranger? Where's the Pokepark franchise? Guys, there are options out there, and I need y'all to recognize that. If Pokemon Legends EA is truly slated to come out sometime around May, then we could easily have a bigger, like, spin-off title come out for the holiday season. I can't imagine anybody being upset at the potential of receiving Pokken Tournament 2 for Christmas, because I certainly would not be upset over that. So just saying, I feel like an actual genuine spin-off game to come out at the end of the year could really help with general reception, especially because as much as you guys are trying to push mobile games on us, those games are so incredibly fleeting that it's scary. There have been too many times where I've been burned because I have spent way too much time and money on a mobile game only for it to be wiped off the face of the map with no chance of returning and no acknowledgement from the developers or publishers. Which is why I refuse to spend any time or money on something like Pokemon Cafe Remix, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Masters EX. I know for a fact that the moment those games go cold, they're gonna get completely pulled from everywhere and not acknowledged by you guys. And that's not something I'm willing to invest time into. But a real true spin-off game that I can buy and play as many times as I want throughout the years, that is something I'm willing to invest into. And I know for a fact that a lot of people definitely feel that way. So hey, like I said, if you want to release a second major game, make it a spin-off game, whether it be late 2025 or early 2026, and let your B team or C team or whoever's working on the next major title do their thing over the course of these next 2 years. I promise you, it's gonna feel like a long time, but you guys got money. I know you guys are not hurting for money. So with all that being said, I think that just about does it for this. Me and a lot of others are very much banking on this year to truly discover whether or not to actually continue hoping that Pokemon could get better, or just give up hope because we are going to realize that it is forever doomed because of money. So around this time in March, we're gonna know whether or not Pokemon is completely doomed. So I guess we'll play that one by ear. But hey, you know what? Maybe that is just me. So that just about does it for what's most likely going to be the first video of 2025. What's funny is I'm actually recording this on New Year's Eve, not 2025. I'm sorry if you feel like I lied to you, but it's not completely a lie, because when you guys see this, it will be New Year's. So with that in mind, happy New Year's, happy holidays. I hope everybody's having a great time. I hope everybody had a great New Year's Eve and a great New Year's Day. Hope everybody's chilling. Hope everybody's cooling. Hope that you guys are, working out your plans for what you guys are going to do this year, because I certainly am. There's a lot of different things that I want to do this year, and I'm still working on that damn project. Again, it's taken longer than I thought, so there was no way in hell it could be my first upload this year, but that's okay. It's coming eventually. I'll do my best to make sure that I get that out to you guys before we get our news on Legends EA, because once that comes out, that's all we're focusing on. So we'll play that situation by ear. But for now, I'm passing the mic over to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me everything you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that this is Pokemon's last chance to really get this right before a lot of people truly fall off and have absolutely no hope for this franchise? Or are you on the opposing side? You think that no matter what, people are going to love this franchise for what it is, and it doesn't really matter if this game is good or it sucks or whatever, because people will just cave in anyway. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just so. I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
I stay funky, doing donuts in a bin. I stay funky, battle goes wherever I am. I stay funky, I don't know who's ready to spit, just know you're going down with my 58 clips. I stay funky, honey's taking back to the crib. I stay funky, get the club popped off like pins.